3, 2, 1.
What is going on, Southwest ISD? I am your man, Brandon Medina. We are here again. Welcome to another episode of Scoreboard. This is your one-stop shop for all things Southwest ISD athletics, from football to water polo to volleyball to tennis to everything and anything in between. It's an exciting week because, one, it's officially a few days out of Halloween, first and foremost. We are now in full trick-or-treat season. We do have the Trunk or Treat sponsored by Relay for Life coming up on Halloween. But it's also an exciting week because we can take a look back at the year that was, and I'm doing that with a very special guest, Mr. Peter Wagner, again, your athletic director. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Hello, sir. How are you doing?
Doing well. Doing well. So, like I said, it's an exciting time to take a look back on the year, especially at our aquatic center and with our water polo team. So kind of explain to the people a little bit where we left off and a little bit of your thoughts on this first year of this expansion.
Yeah. So when we left off last time, we were going into a three-way. I think that the Dragons had to beat Stevens to get into a three-way tie to make the playoffs. So it was very exciting. They beat Stevens.
Yeah, I was there for that one, actually, yeah.
Yeah, and then we had a coin flip to see how we were going to do the tournament because we had a three-way tie. So the Dragons ended up getting a bye, and Legacy ended up playing Stevens. They did not win that game. It was unfortunate. It was a really good game. So Stevens ended up playing Southwest for third place, and Southwest won that game.
Man.
And so Southwest went to the playoffs as a third seed in the boys. In the girls, Legacy was already the 2 seed, and the girls at Southwest were the 4 seed. And so last Thursday we went down for the so our district gets a bye in the first round. So we are in the second round of the playoffs when we went down to have our first playoff game in Laredo, and the Southwest Dragons boys were very competitive in the first half, struggled in the second half a little bit. And so we learned a lot, and everything didn't come out victorious, but we learned a lot. The kids did a great job growing from, not knowing what water polo was on October 1st to
third
competing
place
in the state
there,
playoffs. Yeah, so it was pretty neat. As swimmers, we got a lot of kids who were swimmers who'd never had an all-district team, things like that. We still got a team in the playoffs in our district in Holmes who's going to the regional tournament, possibly, depending on last night's scores. So we can't release those yet, but those are all new things, really neat. And now we are already on, I think our first swim meet's like next week that we host at the
so it just picks right back up.
It just picks right back up, and we go again on to the next thing.
Man, so what do you think, to summarize that full year in water polo, how do you think this benefits Southwest ISD kind of moving forward?
Well, obviously there's a lot of kids who are still looking for their niche, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And so the first thing is that, we had a lot of swimmers who got to experience a team sport, and that's a lot different when you're
100%.
when you're fighting for each other and stuff like that. And so they got to experience that, something new. I think the community, especially me personally, getting to watch water polo, it's a very exciting sport, very fun to play.
Yep.
Things like that. I played it for the first time last week, messing around and stuff like that. Played a little half-court 3-on-3.
Nice.
Water polo. It'll burn some calories, I'll tell you that. And so I think that it's just the beginning for Southwest. It's something that I think our community can get behind. And, it's just I think that everybody's, even the coaches and the kids, are realizing that team sports bring a whole nother level of camaraderie to it.
Yep.
A lot like volleyball, a lot like basketball, football, soccer, those types of things. And having that in the pool is really, really neat.
Nice. And so now with swimming just around the corner, about to start, how do you think the aquatic center is going to add, something to that season as well? Because now they have an official brand new spanking new, the shiny toy home.
So I think to kind of go back on water polo a little bit, when we went to Laredo, that was the first time our kids had to leave. That was the first time they got a bus the whole time.
At home.
All of our games are played at home, and so we get to host this Saturday. We host the Region 4 water polo tournament. So at Southwest ISD Aquatic Center, the winner of of boys and girls on Saturday is going to the state tournament.
Wow.
And stuff like that.
So that's another cool
the best of South Texas is going to be here all day on Saturday.
Wow.
That is going to be in our place. And then we're doing the same thing in swimming. So in early February, we'll host the region. It might be region 7 or 8 in swimming. It's a little different, but we'll host the 5A regional meet and we'll host the 4A regional meet at Southwest. So those kids that will go to state from there. So
man,
that's pretty neat too, that we could do all that. And so with the things that we have going from swimming lessons in 2nd and 4th grade, our club, our middle school club program, and then our overall club program, you know, the future's bright at Southwest when it comes to aquatics, and we have a great staff.
Yeah.
Those people are really learning. They're doing great things and doing some really neat stuff for our kids.
Absolutely. Now switching gears a little bit, Mr. Wagner, you know, looking at, let's start with volleyball for a second. I know volleyball playoffs are just around the corner as well, and Southwest might have an opportunity to host a game, of course. Can you just speak to kind of the history? I feel like volleyball is one of those sports, much like the record with football with the playoffs for football, right? I mean, has Southwest ever been like a world beater in football? No, but the consistency is there as far as playoff appearances, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like with Southwest volleyball, it's almost very similar. I mean, I feel like they're always extremely competitive in district.
Right.
Talk about that program, the coaches, and what kind of you expect as playoffs are starting to come around.
So when we talk about playoffs, we're talking about Southwest High School this year
Yep.
for the most part when it comes to volleyball. And that group has been on the precipice for about 2 or 3 years now, making the playoffs. They've been pretty young. They've been getting it going. You know, Coach Tanya Martinez and Coach and Coach Cortez at Southwest, they do like our aquatic center. We're starting to reap some of the benefits of what we're doing that people don't see, and that's our CYDI program that our 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th our middle school kids compete in throughout the summer and things like that. And we're starting to see some of the reap the rewards of some of that. But you start to in Southwest, you know, this will be the first year we've made the playoffs in volleyball in I think 3 or 4 years. But that's done. The biggest thing is seeding right now. So tonight we play the Dragons play South San. Last night the Dragons played South San. And then Friday is a huge game against Harlandale. And that's really, if we can win that game, then Southwest will be the number 2 seed going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. I know. District wise, I believe last time I checked, which was last week when we were talking about it on the podcast, I want to say they had only lost like 2 or 3 games at that, to that point.
They are currently, what are they, 10-2?
Yeah, that makes sense
like
because they were 8-2 then. Yeah,
they lost a really close match to Medina Valley.
Okay.
A couple Fridays ago before we talked. I think the first or second game was like 32-30.
Oh wow!
So they went way above and stuff, and so that was a close one. And then they played last night. I don't have a score for that one. I apologize. But then on Friday they got a huge match against Harlandale as well because Harlandale's undefeated in district.
Oh wow, man! Oh dang! So that is going to be a big one. So we have a few big games on Friday then. So with that. Obviously, we want to wish the best of luck to Southwest in volleyball, but Southwest Legacy, too, I think is going to start reaping those benefits as well. Towards the end of the season, you start looking at that schedule for volleyball, at least, and in the beginning, you could tell there was a learning curve to go around, right? But at the end of the season, games started to get closer. Yeah. You know, they started to really start taking sets here and there, and so
they picked up a big win against Southside last week.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to be on the verge of getting to where they want to be for sure. So obviously you being a previous football coach, let's talk football here, and now we have Fire and Armor just around the way about 2 weeks
hold
out.
on 1 second.
Go for it. Tell me.
Cross country.
Oh yes. So they had a meet.
So we had the district meet this past week. This past Thursday, and some big things. So let's talk about girls cross country real quick. In the top 10, if you place in the top 10 in cross country, you go to regionals. We had, if I have my numbers right, 7 of the top 10 girls came from Southwest ISD last week, it was
7?
7 of the top 10, I think, is what it's 6 or 7. So the first 2 places were Alicia Galvan, who we talked about, was first place. She's the district champion, and then Regina Pompa was second. And
I want to say we talked
had-
about both of those.
We had a freshman and a Tommy Betancourt, who's
Okay.
who's a freshman out of McNair. Last year was killing everybody in middle school cross country the last couple of years. Her, I don't know, a couple of the girls, Austin and a couple from Southwest High School are also going. So the girls team from Legacy tied Medina Valley for the district championship.
Nice.
And then lost on a tiebreaker, ended up second. But Legacy and Southwest girls are both going to regionals as a team, number one. And then the Legacy boys, as we were talking about, Anthony Zapata won it.
Yeah.
And then Moses came in, I think, third, something like that, third or fourth. And so we have 3 boys, I think, that are going from Legacy as well, or the boys team might be going from Legacy as well in cross country. We have a legitimate shot to possibly get 2 kids from Legacy to state in cross country.
Man, so Legacy definitely, I know we've talked about this over the past few weeks, especially when you've been on, is what do you think is different about that cross country team that they're just, knocking it out of the park over there? As far as, do you think it's the coaching staff? Is it the kids that, like you said, since middle school, they've just kind of been very consistent with staying up to par? Or?
I definitely don't. I think it's the coaching staff, but I think both coaching staffs are very, very good.
Yeah.
They take care of their business and things like that. A lot of it is just like anything else. It's kid and family commitment.
Yep.
When you take Anthony after last year decided to run AAU track all summer on a club team, and ended up going to nationals and found out, whoa, okay, there's another step to take, and upped his game when it came to and talking to Coach Arguello, upped his game all summer, did some things like that. Coach Arguello was talking to me about that Anthony puts together some amazing workouts. So they do multiple 800s, right? So you run an 800 in like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, take a 2-minute break and run another one.
Oh, jeez.
And about 2:30, run a mile in 5 minutes, take about another 5-minute break, 8-minute break, then run another mile. And we got to that second mile, and Anthony said, Coach, you're supposed to run about a 5:30, something like that. For them, jogging. For me and you, death.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So Anthony's like, nah, Coach, I'm going to run it in 4:20 and stuff.
Wow.
And so he went out and sprinted a mile, ran in 4:26 after he already run about 2 miles.
Man.
And stuff. And so
this kid
those
just
little
has that.
types of things that's a championship type mentality
Yep.
to take yourself to the next level that kids have to understand. And I think some of that is where you're at when it comes to Legacy cross country. But Southwest, you look at Southwest girls that I talked about, that's you got Madison, who's a senior, but then the other 2 are a freshman and sophomore, and so we're building that at the lower levels as well.
Yeah, so there's plenty of growth to come for both of those teams. So now, like I said, before we got into the cross country talk, is we're full on Fire and Armor Service Project kicked off this week, supporting our student outreach services and their food pantry. That's always a great time, especially with how much we raised last year. We broke the record, shattered it by how much food we were able to raise for the food pantry last year. And then we have the Fire and Armor Week coming up in 2 weeks or so, and so that's going to be fun right after Halloween. So before we get there, though, 2 big games played out last week, and it made things very interesting as we're on the road to Fire and Armor. So Southwest Legacy had a tough matchup. Not the matchup you want at the end of the year, for sure, with Southside, who is undefeated in district, number 1 in district, just very, very good. And then Southwest High School played Medina Valley, who in the past has always given us problems. Southwest High School gets the win against Medina Valley by a pretty good margin, too. I mean, it was
9 points.
Yeah, they played a really clean game. And then Legacy comes up short. So at first it was tied for 4th in district. Now things have fluctuated, right? So now this becomes a must-win week for Legacy. And also Southwest gets South Sand, which is a dogfight every year because of just the South Side, and everybody wants to go to be at that game. So Legacy plays Win, who Southwest beat pretty easily at their homecoming. Now they go to Legacy. It's the pink out. I'm expecting, hopefully, of course, but I am expecting 2 victories on each side. Tell us how interesting this can get as we start getting towards that Fire and Armor Bowl.
First of all, let's talk about my prediction on the last
Yeah,
one.
okay, listen. That was ridiculous.
That was pretty close.
That was pretty ridiculous. So I believe with Southwest, you had predicted. Was it the homecoming game or Legacy?
It was Legacy. I predicted
42-7.
42-7.
Yeah,
It was 41 to 13.
It's ridiculous. So close.
We missed an extra point. I was like, what the heck's going on?
Oh my goodness. You should have bought a lottery ticket that day. But yeah, you were super close. But with these games, what are you thinking? Give me a prediction. Let's try it again. Give me a prediction on these two then. For South San Southwest, that's a game that I think every kid who has family on the South Side circles on their calendar. Yeah. I know for me that was a massive one when I played, and I know for a lot of kids around here, it's so close where if you grew up 3 streets before you go to Southwest, if you grew up 3 streets another way, you go to South San, and so they have friends and family who they know over there, and so I think that's always a big one. So what are you thinking for that one? That's going to be Thursday, not a Friday night game.
Yep. So
Thursday, October 20th, what are we thinking Southwest versus South San?
So what was funny was I was at the McAuliffe. McAuliffe was playing Tara Wells yesterday. I was watching that game, and one of the officials came up to me, and we had a good talk about it. And I got a little insight on South San in terms of like he's seen a little bit, and you call them hot and cold. You know, they're and we got to watch them against when Legacy kind of put it on them. You know, a few weeks ago and stuff. So I would say that the Dragons definitely have a advantage when it comes up front, both on the offensive and defensive lines, which is a really good thing when it comes to what we do at Southwest High School offensively. So, you know, I would say that you're probably looking at. You don't want to put the jinx on a defense and say they're not going to score at all. So I'm thinking you're probably looking at like a 35, maybe a 7, something like that game. It could be more, but you know, we're not the most explosive all the time, so we take our time getting down the field and stuff. The best defense is a good offense that keeps the ball. So,
very true.
So I'm going to go somewhere around the 35-7 range, something like that for the Dragons, but you know, but you never know on that. It's a rivalry game, so
it is.
You know, so you never know what South San might decide that they're not going to have any of that bullying around. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, listen, South San is interesting, man. It is a team that definitely they have talent, like everybody else. I just think Southwest this year, it almost seems like they're really starting to hit a really hard stride as far as like, as a team knowing here's our strengths, let's not expose our weaknesses. You know, kind of every game it seems that high run powered offense, right? And it's won in the trenches, and they have a really solid line. They're a solid team, and I think with Legacy on the podcast last week, I had said that trench war was going to be no doubt on both sides, because Southside and Legacy in almost every stat were like super similar, right? They were going to do exactly the same thing. They had, you know, almost par for par, a good defense, offense, like everything. Southside goes on to beat Legacy 29-7. Legacy does get a bounce back though. Win has not won a game in district. They're 0-7. Do you think this is a trap game, or do you think this is one of those like, maybe we know what they are already, this should be an easy win for Legacy?
I think in talking to Coach Villasenor a while back, you know, they had a lot of injuries early, Wynn did. And if you look at just last week's game, they lost 33-32, 34-33, something like that to Sigueroa. And so they might be getting some people back. I wouldn't call it necessarily a trap game, but I think it's something that we have to be careful of because they're well coached. Coach Villasenor is a very good coach. Those guys do a good job. Those kids are going to play hard. You know, one thing, you might be 0-7, but that just makes you fight a little harder for that one dub.
Sure does.
You know what I mean? And so, you know, I know Legacy's a little banged up and stuff like that. And so I don't see Legacy losing by any means. I don't know that it's going to be what you might expect when you look at their records. But I think that last week Legacy came out a little bit, a couple weeks ago came out a little bit rusty after their bye week, and now they're starting to hit their stride a little bit
Yep.
and stuff like that. So I'd expect around a 2-touchdown win.
Oh, okay. So you're expecting like 49-7 or something. Is that where
No,
we're not shooting that again?
We'll see. I haven't done enough homework to say that, something like that.
It is a pink out, and so I think that that adds to the aura of that game, especially when students and fans and them come out, and it's a huge cause, and there's something you're playing for more than just your brothers beside you, and so that's going to be a fun one. Legacy and Win will go head to head on Friday, and then you got South San and Southwest on Thursday. Both of those games are going to be interesting because the Fire and Armor Bowl very well could be for a spot in the district playoffs based on the way things go. So talk to me real quick, just a few minutes. We're already going a little over, but just so we can knock it out. Fire and Armor Week, right? Last year, we tried something new, doing a full week of things to kind of not compete with, but to make this bigger than it's been before as far as a bowl game and recognition like the Northside schools do. And so for us, it was exciting with the Trial of Champions, for the students to participate in. We have the Spirit Stick, all that stuff. How have you seen this game, this bowl game, progress over the last 5 years that it's happened? So this is the 5th year. How has it just got bigger every year, or what do you think about the nature of this friendly competition?
I think that all of that stuff is really neat, and it's really neat for a lot of for people to be involved with, and to kind of get the hype going and things like that.
Yeah.
That's fun for everybody to get involved, so it's not just the football game.
Right.
With that being said, I think the one thing that's really neat about the game is that other than the first one, they're all nail biters. They're very evenly matched teams. The same thing this year. If you go by who's going to be favored to win, if the Dragons win this week, there's probably I haven't figured out a scenario where they're not in the playoffs if they win this week. They can lock it up. Legacy's very close to something like that with the right people winning this week and stuff. When you come to that game, if the favorites win the next 2 weeks, you're going into that game with Legacy 6-1 versus Southwest 6-1 in district, which means that the winner of that game gets a home game in the playoffs.
Yep.
The loser of that game is probably driving to Victoria for a playoff game.
Yikes.
And stuff like that. And so lots to do with that.
Yep.
And along with all of the rest of it, and then just two good teams. You know what I mean? That you're going to get to watch some very competitive football between two squads that I wouldn't say they don't like each other, but bragging rights are.
Oh, it's definitely up for grabs.
That trophy's been sitting and has created a permanent home at Legacy in their trophy case. I was just looking at it yesterday. I was like, it's just sitting in there, ain't moved and stuff. I was like, interesting. So it'll make for fun times for all of those things.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, be excited, people. November 2nd, we're locking it down. We're gonna have both Coach Bruce at Legacy and Coach Franco on the podcast at the same time. It's gonna be a fun time. I think this is gonna be fireworks galore in this matchup. And just help me out and understand, Coach. There's no trash talk between them two? Because I know Coach Bruce is quiet. It's a quiet dude. He's not a very vocal guy, besides on the field. Yeah. But I want to know, that's the first question out the gate when I talk to them. Hey, y'all guys been talking a little bit? Hey, what's your plan?
I'll be honest with you. There's not. We meet every Tuesday as an athletic staff.
Yeah.
And we're one team of Southwest ISD, and those two are the biggest examples of that. They help each other out. They and stuff, and we talk about that, and we do a gratitude session before we start those things where we say what we're grateful for each person, and it's always, man, I appreciate you helping us, and vice versa. And so there's really not, to be honest with you, when you put them on the field, they're not prepared to win the game. Yeah, so let's not mess around. I mean,
they got that matchup circled.
We all got that competitive juice that I'm playing if I'm playing a good friend of mine, I'm out to beat him. And it don't matter if it's marbles or basketball or whatever it is. And that's the same thing. You know what I mean? They're going to compete. and that's what you want. But at the end of the day, you know, we're all, the greatest thing about SWISD is we're all family, and that's what they exemplify that to the nth degree. They do a great job with that. I want to say one more thing. Southwest High School is going to do something this fall that I have to look back to see how many times it's been done. But water polo, girls and boys made the playoffs. Team tennis made the playoffs. Girls cross country as a team going to regionals. Volleyball makes the playoffs. With the win this Thursday, more than likely the football team makes the playoffs. That means we've had 5 sports, and all 5 of them will go on to the state playoffs, and that's something that's pretty neat that you know, Southwest High School should be really proud of. That's
awesome. Well, hey, we'll end it there. I think we're on a high note, and like Mr. Peter Wagner said, you know, the beautiful thing about Southwest ISD is we are all one family. Fire and Armor Week is full steam ahead. We'll be there November 4th at game day. If you want to look at the full week of activities, please go follow Southwest ISD social media. They're all posted there. It's an exciting time to be here in Southwest ISD and to be a fan of the sports and athletics. And I think whether you're an employee, a staff member, a parent, or a student, I think this is definitely a highlighted moment in the history of Southwest ISD to definitely be a part of everything. Would you agree, sir?
Absolutely, 100%.
Wonderful. Well, this is Scoreboard for Peter Wagner. I am Brandon Medina. We will talk to you guys soon. And like we always say, we are Southwest.
3, 2,